It's not often you come face to face with a goddess from the prehistoric world. But that's exactly what we think this is. I'm in Braunston. It's a tiny village just outside of Oakham near Rutland Water in the Midlands. And this is the Braunston Goddess. It's a mysterious tale. What we know dates back 100 years. But it's possible that this carved idol is some 4,500 years old. This is the story of the Braunston Goddess. In the 1920s, in this church here, in the doorway, face down, a slab was pulled up. Underneath that slab, something was found that makes this church one of the most unique in the country. An ancient mystery, which we will attempt to unravel today. Stones like this one, carved pagan idols, are often found in churches or adjacent to them. In the old times, when Christianity first came to this land, it was much easier to co-opt existing places of worship rather than starting anew. The old faith would be brought alongside the new rather than being ostracised. So, many churches would be built directly on top of the old pagan sites of worship. Braunston, in a slightly raised area indicative of prehistoric activity, seems to be no exception. It isn't alone in Britain either, this Braunston Goddess, as we call her now. Llandudno Wells has another similar idol found face down, incorporated into the church at a much later date. Now, it may be that there still was a reverence, a respect for these ancient spirits, gods, demons later, as far as the church was concerned. They wouldn't be cast out completely, they wouldn't be destroyed, but their power incorporated into this new house of God. Who she was, we don't know. No texts of any sort survive from before that Christian time. Not from here, anyway. The only texts we have are from the Romans looking in. But survive, she does. Now, what she was used for, we can only speculate. What I can see is that there's a large maw, possibly breasts here, pronounced brow, large nose, almost goggle-like eyes on the top, sort of amphibian-like with these gills or gill-like things on either side. She's very worn down, very weathered, and although she can't be dated precisely, she could be Neolithic or Bronze Age in date, something like the 3rd millennium BC. Alternatively, she could be from the Iron Age Celtic world. She doesn't look too dissimilar to things like the Hexham heads, carved wooden idols which are found all over the land. So maybe she represents some sort of a nature deity of this area. Alternatively, she could be an ancestral spirit of the people who lived around Rutland Water. interesting that she does seem to be amphibian of a sort, and this land is quite linked to water still today. We can see offerings have been placed in here only recently. Some of these, I don't want to disturb any spirits, but some of these are still sort of, well, they're starting to get weathered, a bit like this stone. And it being a stone like this, it makes me think of stone circles and monoliths, megalithic sites. Why is she so defined? And would there have been many more like her in the past? A class of stones where only a few are left now from that ancient time. On a cold winter's day like today, I can appreciate this. 4,000 years ago, would people congregate here to worship at the feet of this goddess, or was it something more intimate? This was someone they knew. This was someone they could call on for advice, rather than be intimidated by. Can't say for sure. Can't say for sure. But it's a very special thing to see. We remember you. It's like something from H.P. Lovecraft. It really is. It almost reminds me of the amphibian fish carvings from Lipensky Vir in the Neolithic in the Balkans. Thousands of miles away from here, and probably thousands of years removed. I wonder, is it something to do with a fertility cult? At a certain time of the year, maybe, in the ceremonial calendar of these people? Did they come here to make offerings? Like, obviously, some still do today. Who knows? It's a creepy looking thing today. Who was she? Who were you? And what do you mean? One of the fascinating things about this depiction of some sort of ancient carving, some sort of ancient being, is that there really is nothing else like this in Britain. Those who look into the Saxon world and the Norman world say that this isn't one of theirs. It wasn't carved into a church like the normal grotesques, like Sheila na gigs and gargoyles and all that sort of thing. This is separate. To me, it looks more ancient, and I'm not alone in that way of thinking. Could this really be a miraculously surviving relic from thousands of years in the past? Maybe. Just as likely as this was here when this place was first Christianised. Some sort of surviving pagan cult in this region. The first religion of this land. All we can do now is wonder. I'm just going to jump in here with a bit of scholarly vigour. I can't stress enough that nobody knows just what the Braunston Goddess is, or when it dates to. We do know when the churches originate though. The first record of one here is in the Norman period, in the 12th century. That's when this archway dates to, and many other features of the place. In the 14th century, it was rebuilt, and then again in 1848. Just when the goddess was incorporated into the doorway, we can't say. Nor can we say whether the Normans built their holy site on top of an existing Saxon church. It seems likely to me though. And while the Braunston Goddess is entirely unique, It does have some similarities to so-called hunky-punk grotesque carvings from Somerset, dating to the 15th and 16th centuries. Jill Bourne of Leicestershire Museums has noted a potential link here. However, this one is quite different. Bourne has also suggested that the carving also makes sense upside down, suggesting it could originally have been placed looking downwards from part of one of the older churches, up from the eaves at the top of the church, later cast down by pious churchgoers to be walked over by those entering the place. But of course, this is just one idea. Bourne also discusses the possibility of this being some kind of ancient boundary marker on the old Leicestershire-Rutland border. Such pre-Christian boundary markers usually being made in wood. So if this is the case, it's very remarkable. Lastly, there is an old 13th century house in the village, known as Quaintree Hall House, the name of which could feasibly reference this ancient queen associated with the settlement. We can't say for sure, but as noted previously, the layout of the church itself does suggest an incredibly ancient place. Some of the gravestones here are very old, 1700s, 1800s, some of the oldest you'll find. Very old archway here as well. Quite incredible. We can see in stained glass all of the iconography, the stories, the people from the Christian world imported to this land from the Near East and the Roman Empire some, 1500 years ago, give or take a few centuries. All those stories that came before, the iconography, the imagery, the gods, the heroes of that pre-Roman, pre-Christian world are gone. Almost all of them. For those people gathering here all those millennia ago, the Braunston Goddess would have been just as real as a Venus, a Mars, a Christ. And spare a thought for all of those forgotten gods, those forgotten individuals, those forgotten stories, which we can never get back. Well, what do you think of the Braunston Goddess? Do you know of any other similar deities near where you live in the UK? Let me know in the comments. I'm always interested in finding similar pieces of heritage across the landscape. I've enjoyed having a look at the Braunston Goddess today. I'm going to keep making little videos like this where I explore the great British landscape and charting and discovering lost and forgotten stories from our ancient past. So let me know any ideas you may have. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, like and subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks.